welcome back to the On Your House podcast. I'm Joey Hauser, as always, joined with my older brother Sam and our dad, the big house, Dave Hauser. Today is February 3rd, 2025. This is our 8th episode. We got a good episode for you guys. We got Xavier Tillman, who will be joining us midway through, current Boston Celtic and former MSU Spartan, teammates of both me and Sam. So pretty cool to have him on. One of the nicest people, best teammates I've ever had, no doubt. When I first got to MSU, I saw how dedicated X was, the weight room, classroom, everything, and while also having a family. So having him find time to balance all that made me think I got to work a lot harder. But yeah, he's definitely got that Michigan State toughness and that dog in him. So excited to have him on.
Looking forward to that.
I
can't wait.
Similar rundown here. We'll give you guys little recent updates, talk some sports. We got some wise words for you guys before we get into the interview. So let's get right into it. All right, Dad, why don't you kind of give us a rundown on what you got going on lately?
We got a lot of good things going on. We're still in a really good spot with everything that's going on. So just tournament time's around the corner. Wrestling had a really big win last week up at Everest. And we're going to finish towards the top half of the conference for the, probably since before COVID or so. So it was a really big win. So I was really happy for our new coach. And then hockey's rolling right now. They're just rolling. They played a couple really close ones last week, one in overtime down to Nina, which is tight. They got some guys on the shelf that are a little bit banged up, but they're still surviving. Girls basketball had a tough loss Saturday over at Hudson, but they played back-to-back real quick, so it was a good game for them to have over there. Ended up losing by 4. Boys were up at Everest. You guys remember playing up there, hard place to play. Probably one of the more weird setup gyms in the conference.
Dad, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I had a game within like 30 points.
I might have said that wrong. Yeah, I feel like your senior year we had a little struggle there for a little bit, but I just felt like it's always a hard gym to play it because the bleachers aren't even, but they had to come from behind. Big one up there, and then swim's pretty much. I think they've locked up the conference. We've got a couple guys that have done really well here lately. I don't want to miss names, but we got one guy that hasn't lost a 500-yard this year, so that's a long race. So we're good spot. Our Palma Dance went down to state this past weekend, so that was awesome. We're having a really good winter right now, really good. So tournament time's coming. That's always a fun time to be.
Yeah. Sam, before you give us kind of your recent update, I know you got the shout out today, so why don't you do that quick before I forget?
All right. Yeah. I'm going to just shout out Coach Tony Bennett. Yeah. I hope he's enjoying retirement. He was a big reason why I went to Virginia and helped me kind of, I think like when we were transferring, I wasn't really like myself for a little while there, and he kind of helped me find myself again and helped me become a better person first and foremost, and then obviously a better player on the court too, and helped me reach my goals and aspirations, which was to get to the NBA. And said it before on this podcast, he's one of the most genuine people in college basketball and one of the best people I've ever been around in this sport. So he's a Stevens Point native. So shout out to Coach Bennett. I hope that golf swing is as smooth as I remember it, and I hope you're enjoying retirement.
Tony Bennett.
Good shout out.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a hell of a shout out right there, Sam. Probably one of the best ones we've had, honestly. But why don't you also kind of give us your recent update here and what's going on?
Yeah, so currently we are in Cleveland about to play our 3rd game of a 3-game road trip. Another long road trip. We've been on the road for 5 days now and heading home after the game tomorrow. So excited, hopefully get a big win tomorrow and then head home and see the family, which will be good. The road trip started in New Orleans, and some of the Super Bowl stuff was getting set up already around the Superdome because the basketball arena is right next door. So we were able to see some of the stuff that was getting ready for this, gearing up for this Super Bowl coming up, which is cool. And New Orleans has one of the best restaurants that I think I've ever been to before.
No shit.
Shout out to Drew Holiday for, hooking it up and getting a bunch of us guys there day before the game. Place called Saffron. It's an Indian Cajun fusion place.
They always throw that fusion word at the end.
Yeah.
It just means like whatever, like American twist on
Well, it's Indian cuisine mixed with the Cajuns, New Orleans style food. That's what it is. So phenomenal. If you're ever in New Orleans, I would recommend it. And then let's see here. Teddy has popped 2 teeth. Been a little bit of pain, but he's grinding through it, and he's trying a whole bunch of different foods. So it's been pretty cool to see that, and we're gearing up for Cancun coming up here for All-Star break as well with you guys. So we're excited.
Yeah, make sure you rub a little wine on those teeth at night.
So is that the key?
That's the key right there.
All right.
Well, yeah, Sam just said it. Gearing up for Cancun here pretty soon in about a week.
About a week and a half, yeah.
Break. But speaking of Mexico, I just got back from Mexico City. We had a game down there. Always a fun, interesting trip that everyone's kind of like uneasy when you get there. Like, everything looks like 10, 15 years older. But I always like going down there. Great food. The people treat you there like royalty. Pretty good crowd at the G League game playing the Capitanes.
Tennis.
They go bananas for basketball down there. I would not be surprised if there's a team down there within the next 10 years, 5-10 years. But yeah,
because it's one. I will depend on the tariffs.
Yeah. There's. But anyways, we were on a little road trip, and then that was the end of our road trip. A little quick one game down there. I finished my one book of the month, my January book. It was Phil Jackson, 11 Rings. I got my next book right here, gifted to me by our strength coach. Cubs way.
Is that about the Chicago Cubs?
It is. So when he gave it to me, Coach Rich, thank you. I'm a Brewers guy at heart, so when he gave it to me, I kind of was like, I wasn't going to turn it down, but I'm going to read it. It's about their championship run. So I got my February book. I'm all set. I'm already a couple pages into it, so that'll be a good read. But yeah, that's kind of all I got going on right now. Excited for Cancun to see all you guys. All right, so diving into some recent sports here. I kind of start us off here with college hoops, Michigan State basketball. First loss in the Big Ten. I had a bad feeling about it, traveling all the way out to LA. Time change. And you know what? They look solid. They fought hard, just came up a little bit short. Still 9-1 in Big Ten play, so obviously no reason to panic. They got UCLA tomorrow, so hopefully they got that long travel behind them and the time change. They're adjusted. They've probably been out there for 3-4 days now. But so yeah, all in all, sitting in a pretty good spot for Michigan State.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah.
Kind of on the flip side of things, UVA continue to struggle here. Watched their game, I think it was 2 nights ago against Virginia Tech, and they got down big early and showed a lot of fight coming back and had a shot at the buzzer to win it that rimmed out. But at this point, I'm just kind of hoping they can maybe get a little push heading into the conference tournament to get out of that first game, so they don't have to get an extra game under their belt if they want to make a good run at the conference tournament. But right now, it's been tough to watch. They've been struggling, but see if we can turn it around here.
NC State last year, you never know.
True, you never know.
Not saying they go to the Final Four, but they win 3-4 games in a row and
never know.
Get a tournament bid.
Never know.
Just got to get in.
Yeah,
got to get in.
Dad, what about UMD?
Well, UMD, they were rolling there. They had 6 in a row, and then they went on the road and lost two close games, but then they turned that thing around here last Saturday and got a nice one at home. So I feel like they're kind of, you kind of get that spot in the year where you kind of drag. We talked about that last time, but now I have a hunch that they might not be a team you want to see here in the playoffs because they've won some games.
It's that turning point right about it.
They can put the ball in the hole too, that's for sure.
Yeah. They can score in bunches. If they can get a home game somehow, part of that conference tournament, they're 11-1 at home this year. I also wanted to shout out a UMD Bulldog alumni, Matt Hockett, the women's head coach at the University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point. Now, they lost a couple here recently, but they've had another great year, and I don't think he gets enough credit for what he's doing over there. They're playing really good basketball right now, along with the men.
Yeah. Speaking of Matt Hockett, I've seen that guy out jogging in Stevens Point more than anyone else.
He goes ahead hard, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like it, different spots by Century World, by here and there. But sticking with the basketball theme, let's move to some NBA talk. Wow. What an unbelievable. That was the craziest trade I have ever been seen.
Yeah, it might be the biggest trade between two of the biggest like stars of the league I think the league has ever seen.
Middle of the season too. Like I don't think there's ever been a bigger trade.
Yeah, it definitely was shocking. When I woke up that morning, I didn't know what happened yet, and I got on the elevator to go to breakfast that morning, and a couple of our coaches were in the elevator talking about, Luka and the Lakers, and I was like, "What is that? Like a rumor or something?" And they're like, "No, it happened." It's like, "What? Are you serious?"
Well, lucky you that you fell asleep because much like like after a big game you play, the adrenaline's running, you can't fall asleep. That's what happened to me. I saw the trade. I couldn't fall asleep. I was just like, I don't know. I was like shook by how monumental this was. It was crazy.
It's nuts. It's I don't know how it'll pan out for each team, but it should be interesting. And we play the Mavericks coming up here later this week. I wonder if Anthony Davis will play or not, but it'll be interesting to see them with this new look.
Max Christie,
former Michigan State Spartan was a part of that. But
yep.
Yeah, man, I guess kind of seems like the Lakers maybe found their next, big superstar to build around, obviously.
He's only 25.
Yeah, that's the crazy part about it.
That's unbelievable.
All that, I mean, for as long as he's been in the league too, like people could obviously mistake him for thinking he's like 29 or 30. He's been in the league like 7 years.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It made the De'Aaron Fox trade almost not even seem like existent. Like people kind of, that was a big trade as well.
Yeah, Fox. Yep.
Kevin Huerter's going to Chicago. Like that was
a 3-team trade, right? Those three involved together. It just makes you wonder what else is going to happen before this deadline.
That's what I was going to say. Like I think it's going to get even crazier before.
Yeah. So everybody's going to have just a bag laying out just in case. You need to pack up real quick, I think.
I think it was Josh Hart that tweeted out like, so who are the untouchables in the NBA? I mean, we don't have to speculate, but it just makes you think like pretty crazy. That list is 1 to 2 guys maybe.
Yeah. And Jimmy Butler's still kind of, you don't know that's in limbo right now. You don't really know what's going to happen. So it'd be interesting.
Yeah. The NBA is, hey, you know what? Maybe it's for the viewership.
Yeah. I was just going to say, you talked about untouchables and all that stuff, on the trade deadline, but I think it's great.
It is.
Yeah. It just kind of woke everybody up maybe a little bit, Joey. Maybe the viewership's behind it. But I think it's just, I mean, I know that term they use all the time in that world you guys live in is it's just business, but it's good business too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said the Lakers Mavericks play on in like 2 weeks, end of February. They said, they're predicting it to be the most watched NBA regular season game in years.
A lot of storylines.
If Luka plays.
If they play, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk much about the NFL. It's very unfortunate the Chiefs made it in the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl pick. Let's go around and do a Super Bowl pick, and that's it. You got it, Joey.
I don't want to bet against them again. But I'm taking the Eagles. I truly think they are the better team. If they can get on the ground early and control the game, unfortunately, I think the script might already be written. I think the 3-peat is in, but I'm taking the Eagles. I'm riding Eagles. The only time I'll ever cheer for the Eagles.
Yeah. Dad, what do you got?
Well, I went back and reviewed my pick from the last episode when we had this, and I initially took the Chiefs, then
Commanders, right?
I had the Commanders in the Eagles game.
Yeah.
So I quickly, I don't know, I had something and I wanted the Bills to win, but now I'm gonna have to go back to the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's hard to say they're not going to win.
Yeah. I'm a big injury fan.
I have nothing wrong with the Chiefs. It's more of who they show constantly throughout the game that makes it annoying to watch them. It'd be cool to see. A team do it, 3-peat, and but I'm kind of with Joey. I think Saquon is the difference maker here. If he can get going early, I think the Eagles are going to win, and I'll pick the Eagles because of that.
Well, we'll see who's buying drinks down at Cancun.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing I will say, I feel like the past 3-4 years, the Super Bowl commercials there hasn't been any memorable ones. Hopefully
I got a little bit of theory on that. They get leaked now.
They do get leaked. Yeah.
They do, yeah.
So if you didn't see him before, then before it used to be like the buildup, but be like now everything gets leaked. I don't like it.
Shane Gillis and Post Malone, I bet, are going to have a Bud Light commercial. They've had a couple of small commercials lately together, and I feel like they're going to have one for the Super Bowl.
I would say
performance, right? Yeah.
Kind of switching gears though. I don't know, Sam, if you watched the College Park Skyhawks and the Capitanis play, but we got a shout out from the announcers for the podcast.
Did we?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
You got to go back and watch it. The guy that they weren't at the game though. They were like in a studio somewhere, and they were talking, and they did a really good job. They talked about every player, and then they talked about, I think, Joey made a 3 in there, and I kind of missed him. Mom heard it, but yeah, they gave the on the pod. They gave us a little shout.
Hey, I love playing down there. I've had arguably like my 2 best G League games down there. So moving on here, we got wise words from the Big House Dad, presented by the No Shovel Club.
Yeah.
What do you got for us today?
Well, definitely got no shovel today. We got 4 inches of snow, so pull up
definitely not shovel.
Snow blower. Yeah, we'll snow blow it. Maybe we'll see. Tech Ed class fixed the blower this year, so it works great.
You better make a post about that.
I want to make sure I clarify this. I'm going to use the word war. It has nothing to do with combat war, country wars, nothing to do with any type of war when people think of war like, Ukraine. This is simply about a game and referring to the contest as a battle and a war. So my shout out today, we've kind of been leading up to that hard time of the year in January, those grind days, but there's still that part of being a teammate where the concept of going to battle, going on the court and competing, there's 2 questions that I reflect back to that Dale Race posed to us at one point. And when you sit your teams down, coaches, or you think about this as a player, it's like, all right, I've been a teammate for 4 or 5 months now. And then the question is, if you had to go into battle, you had to go beat a team, you had to pick one guy from your team that you could count on that would consistently have your back, consistently run the right play, consistently execute. Think about a guy on your team that you're taking with you no matter what happens on the court, good, bad, or indifferent, okay? Second part of that question is, as you thought about the person you were picking and the attributes that they had and why you chose them, you need to sit back in your locker room and look around the room going, is anybody picking me? And I think that's the other part about it. So wise words today are about who you take in the battle, who you trust in, who's got your back no matter what. Oh, and then the second part of that is, I ain't doing enough so somebody would pick me as their you're my guy. I can count on you. You've always been there. I think those are important.
Like you said, not to relate it to actual battle and stuff like that, but we used to always kind of say who's your foxhole guy?
Yeah, foxhole.
Who's picking you? Are you a foxhole guy? Who's that guy that you can lean up against and who can lean up against? Who's picking you? But I remember that was something that you always kind of middle of the season, maybe we're struggling like in high school, and you would kind of bring up that spiel right there, that talk, and kind of get guys to, so.
I remember having that once, Coach Anderson let me.
Yeah.
I had to explain to him because, he was pretty protective he was the head coach, right? Yeah. So he was protective, and I'm like, hey, you think I can give this talk? And I think it was maybe your junior, Sam. We were just on the,
it was my junior year when
your junior?
We really sucked for a little bit there. Yeah. Oh, we turned it around. Probably.
Yeah.
That's good.
Good wise words. Yeah, good wise words from the Big House. Make sure you're not shoveling if you're a member.
No shovel club, baby.
It snowed in Wisconsin in the Midwest. Luckily for us members down there in Atlanta, we don't have to worry about that.
No shovel club members, don't forget, if you want to follow us, we are strictly on Facebook. We've got a lot of older members, but we got to get you going there, read the membership application. But until March 1st, so we are a service club.
Yeah,
you must be shoveling and helping your neighbors.
You must be. A membership fee is just basically posting a picture.
Post a picture, and then we'll
easy peasy.
We'll see if we do a fun drive for a charity this year. We haven't done one.
Really?
All right, welcome back to the On the House podcast. As you mentioned before, joined by our very special guest, Sam's current teammate, Boston Celtic, and my former Michigan State teammate, Xavier Tillman, the Grand Rapids, Michigan native. Yeah. I think you're probably one of the only person in the world that's had both of us as teammates, but not on the same team.
That's actually a pretty awesome feat to have. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, there's been guys that have played with us, at Marquette or in high school, but different teams, same teammate. It's pretty unique.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
That's good stuff right
We
there.
we got to get this question out of the way right away. You guarded me a lot at Michigan State.
Oh, here we go.
I don't know how much you guarded Sam in your time with the Celtics, but who's tougher to defend?
So I haven't guarded Sam, or I haven't been put in a position. However, I will say from personal experience of guarding you, I feel like your games are like totally different because you were like a true stretch four where it was like, okay, I'm gonna pick and pop you, or I'm gonna like post you up and hit you with a nasty shimmy fade away. Or I'll hit you with like a running hook, driving right, high glass. Sam is like,
Yeah.
if you're not pressed on his body, this is cash. or like, even if you run him off, he'll just stop and shoot the mid range and he won't touch the net. So like, two totally, I feel like different games. But I never had the opportunity to guard Sam.
I used to have that mid-range post down.
I'm just
I
saying,
had to take that out of my game.
They
Yeah.
don't let you do that there anymore.
I got to play a role. I got to play a role.
I got to come off pin downs and hopefully you get them. And
I will say though, because I was playing scout team a lot. I mean, you don't really have a conscience. You just kind of throw up any shot you got. So you play with a little more confidence.
I'm not gonna lie to you. There's not too many feelings like being on scout team. And from the outside looking in, you're like, bro, scout team? It's like, but you don't get it though. Scout team is like a pit bull off the leash.
Yeah.
Where it's like you really can't make a mistake. Like you just be aggressive and do somewhat of what the guy does. Like Joey will probably get a lefty, but he shoots threes. So like just because he shoots threes, Joey's like, oh, it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, you basically can do no wrong on the scout team. That was a fun year. That red year was fun.
Yeah, my freshman year I was on scout team at Michigan State, and that was one of the most fun I had. Just like busting Nick's ass for sure.
But with that being said, X, one of probably the best team I'd ever had that I never got to actually play with. But one of the main reasons I came to MSU, you were there on our visit, me and Sam. You talked to us right away. I think you were the first guy to reach out to me when I initially committed to Michigan State. So you were a great example for just, what putting in work and being a Michigan State Spartan was like for me coming into Michigan State. But I want to throw it back a little bit. Talk to us a little bit, maybe like your high school career, like early on, because we know the college Michigan State X and the NBA. We've been following you since then, but I don't know much about maybe like your high school career, where your basketball career kind of started. I know your mom was a stud at the other school.
Yeah. She was a stud like all the way through. So like at Michigan, and then before that, she went to a school called Ottawa Hills, where like I think she told me they like went to like the quarterfinals in the state tournament like every year. Like she was like, yeah, we didn't like lose often.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, my freshman and sophomore year, I went to a school called Forest Hill Central. It's basically where I grew up at. So I was there from like 5th grade up until 10th grade, and then going into I guess my junior year, all the seniors had left, or they were going to leave. So I was like, I'm not staying on this team because I want to win a state championship, and like this team is not going to do it. And like obviously, like I was good, like I was all area, all state type stuff. But I'm like I knew early that it took a team. Yeah. Like if I drop 25 and I'm playing against somebody with 3 guys who can each drop 15, I'm like, yeah, that's not going to be enough. Like I need help. So that's when I transferred to Grand Rapids Christian. Ironically enough, we had 4 pros on that team, 2 guys who actually went to the NBA.
Wayne Washington, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. So we had 4 pros, 2 guys that went to the NBA. When we were there, though, it was like you could have put it basically was like a prep school for us, experience wise.
Yeah.
Like obviously, like we, met the team or met the students and like built like, somewhat of friendships. But me personally, like I didn't build as many as like say like Dwayne, because Dwayne went there since his freshman year. So like he kind of, grew up with those guys and all that. But for me, I was kind of in there like I'm strictly focused on like I want to make it to the state championship and I want to win. And everybody else like, oh, X is a really cool guy. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like I need to lift. I need to lift in the morning, and I need to work out in the morning, and then I need to work out after. Like that was like tunnel vision, sole purpose. I was like, yo, I have got to win a state championship or at least go. because I just wanted that experience to play in Breslin and stuff like that.
Did you play Foster one of those years? Foster lawyer?
Yeah. So that was my senior year, the last year.
Did you guys win it?
Pictures, but I had I had the dreads and all that stuff. He kicked our ass.
I was gonna say that's what I thought.
I think he had like 55 or 60 on the weekend.
Jeez.
So like 35 in our game and maybe 25 in the game before.
So you never got a ring?
Nope. Never got a high school ring. But if I wouldn't.
Hey, fair enough.
Oh yeah.
Did you play any other sports growing up? You got some good size on you. I could see you being a DN.
But when you watch him, you'd be like, golly, this guy looks like he's 21 playing against. No, I'm huge. I'm huge compared to everybody else. But like for me, that was just like status quo. But like when you watch, you're like, okay, like you shouldn't even have been playing it because I was on JV my freshman year playing football. So I probably should have been on varsity. But
that's how a lot of schools do it. They keep the freshmen on JV. Yeah. That's how our school do it.
Yeah, I wasn't mad. I had like 7 receiving touchdowns on the year, but I wasn't mad.
You got those big mitts.
Hands.
Big mitts.
They're running the pop pass for you at tight end.
Oh man, it's just a go route because I'm like
throw it up.
Freshman year, I'm probably like 6'3", 6'4", and I'm playing against other freshmen and sophomores who are probably like 5'10",
probably barely in puberty.
Maybe a 6 foot here and there, but it's not likely.
I know. Coming out of high school, you had some other big offers. I remember Sam talking about you coming on a visit to Marquette. That was kind of in your top schools. I've talked a lot about why I chose MSU in this podcast, but what drew you to Michigan State? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of obvious things people talk about. What was the selling factor, I guess?
Ironically enough, Tamia was raised in East Lansing. She was there until like 3rd grade. For her, it was kind of like a coming home kind of thing that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
As well as, East Lansing was only like 45 minutes from Grand Rapids. So like for my family to be able to come to the games, for them to come help with Yanni, like it kind of made sense. And then I think because I really like Marquette and Purdue as well, but Marquette, the vibe that I got there just wasn't like, I was like, I don't think I like it over here. Like,
let me little backstory on that. So I remember X's official visit to Marquette. Tamia was
super pregnant,
very far along. Probably, I don't know how much longer after that she gave birth, but
maybe 2 months. If that.
Yeah, she was far along, and it was your official visit. I believe there was like a quote unquote carnival set up at a coach's backyard.
Interesting.
It was a weird vibe. Even as a player on the team, it was just like, well, this is weird. And I'm sure you felt the same way.
Yeah,
and Tamia probably didn't want to do much because she was
like, we can't
so far
jump
along.
on anything. Also,
there was like bouncy houses, like a picture booth. There was like slides. It was maybe not the right visit for what, given the circumstances.
Yeah. And then they took us to like where she would go to daycare, and I didn't know where Marquette was as I was going through the recruiting process. So when we got there, well, first off, to get there, we drove like an hour west to Muskegon, and then we took a ferry from.
You took the
ferry across, and I literally almost threw up on the ferry, and I was like, I don't know. That was a little backstory. I was kind of like, okay, and then I felt like Purdue, when I took a visit there, they were just in the middle of nowhere. Like it felt like there was nothing in West Lafayette at all.
Yeah. Travel to a college I remember when I took my first visit to Virginia in high school, we got delayed at the airport. Remember, Dad, for 4 hours probably. And right then and there, I was like, it threw me off. I didn't want to go there because of I just thought about all the plane traveling I'd have to do, and I didn't want to get caught up. Yeah. So I can only imagine almost throwing up on a ferry ride. Probably did it
I was
for
like, is this what it's going to take for me to get home? I got to cross a ferry? Because it's like, otherwise you got to go all the way around.
Yeah, it literally takes equal time, honestly.
Yeah, about horse piece.
Yeah. I remember when I first transferred to Michigan State, they knew I was from Marquette, and they kept asking me like, "Oh, like you're from the UP?" Because there's a Marquette, Michigan.
Yeah.
Like, no, I went to Marquette University. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Marquette, Michigan is where Northern Michigan is.
Yes. Well, I learned about that
Yeah.
because coaches. Yeah. So I got familiar with where Marquette, Michigan was, but
Ironically, I've never been up north, like in the UP.
Never been to the UP?
I don't think I've been to the UP either. Maybe when
Yes,
I was.
you have. Yes, you have. We went skiing up there a couple times. Ski Brule.
Okay. Not
You're
in
smaller.
My,
You're a lot
yeah.
smaller than.
It's like right across the border of Wisconsin.
I was probably so young I don't remember. But you kind of mentioned it a little bit. You talked about your freshman year being on scout team. I got this on my notes here. You averaged 8 minutes a game as a freshman. You always we talk a lot about like process over results and stuff like that. And you lived it. So like, what were your biggest things that you learned that freshman year? I mean, I'm sure there was a lot going on. You got a family. You got you're coming to Michigan State as a freshman. Like, what was your biggest takeaway? What did you learn that year?
I mean, I learned a ton of stuff. Like, give me like a specific area, I guess, that you want to know about. Because I learned that was probably my biggest growth year, of my life. Was that year?
I'd like to know how you balanced.
Yes, how did you balance it?
Father, playing high level Division I college basketball and academics. How did you learn to like manage like time management or being efficient with your time, that type of thing?
I was super, super present. Like I was rarely on my phone, like texting other people, or like I was always like, okay, if I'm at the gym, I'm locked in on the gym. If I'm at the Smith Center, I'm locked in on homework for the day, or if I'm watching film with coach or with DJ, I'm whatever the scenario I was in, like I was super present. I wasn't a guy who was like, oh man, I'll forget this class, bro. I'm gonna like just do whatever. I wasn't a good student in high school. Like I literally almost failed a class like within the first week of Michigan State, and DJ was like, like you're getting kicked off the team. Right? I was like, what? So like completely 180. I was like, oh, okay. Let me because I went to Michigan State, and Michigan State's campus is like a movie in terms of like storybook. You got all the trees and the students running around, and in the good weather, you see people playing outside. You're like, damn, this is nice. So like, I'm thinking as a student athlete, especially on the basketball team, tutors are going to do my homework, and I'm just going to kick it. And I had this tutor named Amelia Marsh.
Should have gone to Marquette for that, huh?
They didn't tell me that at Marquette that they did that, but I was doing all my work after that. Marsh, she was like, nah, look, this is what we're gonna do, and she really helped me out a lot. But I was just super present. I think that was the main thing. I wasn't really distracted at all.
Being a new father, being present is very important, but it's also very hard given the demands of our job and what we do. So I can't even imagine schoolwork on top of basketball and other stuff like that.
You got to think, I probably did homework actually at home, in my apartment, maybe 10 times my whole college time. Everything was at the Smith.
Yeah.
Even if I had to go back to the Smith, post practice, I would go home, bring the food that we'd have, a to-go plate to tea, and I would go back to the Smith because once I got home and around my family, I'm like, bro, there's no way I'm doing homework.
Yeah,
I just want to be around.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I first got there, seeing you do all that, and I was like, I should probably work a little harder. The fact that this guy's in here early in the morning, gets his work in, and so it was just a really good example for all of us. But that first year you were there, you guys were loaded. You had
We were 30-5. We lost to freaking Syracuse. That team should have been a national championship team.
What round was that?
Second round.
I remember
that year. Yeah.
You guys were my pick to win it. I was in high school, so I didn't really have a team or whatever. But I was like, you guys were stacked.
Yeah.
Jaron, Miles,
Cassius was having his coming out party. Yeah. Nick was still dominating. Josh Linkward was killing.
Yeah. Matt McQuaid was on Quato was on that team.
Yeah.
Right.
You guys had a squad.
Tum Tum on that team?
Oh yeah, Tum is literally leading the charge with the best motivational speeches you could ever hear. This guy could lead you through a freaking wall, and you would just break. You know what I'm saying? He was fantastic.
Yeah. Luckily, we had him as a GA for 2 years there. My 2 years I was there. That second year, I want to say you weren't playing a ton right away to start either. Your sophomore year, but then Nick Ward went down with an injury, right? Is that what happened? And you
I played a little bit more than my freshman year. I knew I was playing every game versus freshman year. I didn't know I was playing every game.
Yeah.
But like I never like jumped the hurdle until Nick. He didn't even get hurt the first time. Maybe he had gotten in trouble, and they're like, "All right, Nick's out for tonight, or he's coming off the bench. Like you're starting." So once I got all those minutes, that was my first game. We went to Illinois. We lost. I had like 16-10, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Like I actually like I might be able to." I'm like, I might be able to, to do this. Because before that, I didn't score more than maybe like 10 points in the game. So I'm like, all right, I'll be solid. But then after that, it was kind of like, okay, well, now I just need an opportunity.
Exactly.
And so then he got hurt, and then that was it.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like sometimes you feel like you just need like that little extra burn, and you get more comfortable in the game. You start doing some things that you work on and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
Did
Did you win 6-man that year?
Yeah. I won 6-man, but it was kind of like one of those cheating 6-mans because it wasn't like halfway through the season, but maybe like if we played 15 games, the last like 5 or 6 games I actually started.
Yeah.
So like I averaged 10 and 7 on the year, but those last 5 or 6, I'm gonna average like 15.
I got you.
Because it was just like I was playing so much.
Yeah. How was it? You guys ended up going to the Final Four that year. I mean, that's something. Gosh, me and Sam dreamed about, and we never could do. Like, not many people can say that. How was that run? I mean,
that run was sweet. I feel like we all had a different mentality from the year before losing to all the returners who lost to Syracuse. Like there was like this calmness in each of the games versus like freshman year, we were like everybody's heart was racing. Like, man, like we got to do this. We got to do this. And we kind of went into it with a different mentality. We had just won the Big Ten tournament. We had won the regular season in the Big Ten. So we're kind of like, we're good. Like just let's go out here, take each game one at a time and like just handle business. And then, so when we beat LSU, we had watched we watched Duke play against Virginia Tech. And Zion was just dominating and jumping so high. And we were like, well, that was a good run. Like that was fun. Yeah, and then we played against them. That was a heck of a game.
That was a fun game to watch.
I remember watching that one. Yeah.
Really fun game to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
High level.
Arguably, like, one of the best Duke teams there is. And then, nobody really talks about it because they didn't make the Final Four or anything. You guys put an end to that. But, yeah, that was where was that Final Four at? U.S. Bank?
D.C. It was in D.C.
Was it?
Yeah.
The Final Four?
Oh, I'm sorry. That was in
was it Minnesota?
Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you played the Vikings. It was huge. It was like, bro, there doesn't need to be a basketball court in here.
Did you guys have to adjust kind of your shot? Like
yes, like the depth perception. Like usually when you go even in like NBA arenas, like they go like decently far back, but you can see it. Like at that arena, you couldn't see where it ended back there. So you're like, bro, I can shoot this over the backboard. Like I can't.
It's an underrated aspect of shooting. Is that perception. That's
for sure. But that was a cool experience for sure. Because I remember after we had gotten done with the game and we lost, the first question somebody asked me was like, "Yo, are you coming back here next year?" And I was like, "What? Duh!" But like in my head, it started like ringing. Like they're asking if you're coming back next year. You probably don't have to come back. You actually don't have to come back for your senior year as long as you handle business and do what you're supposed to do. So in the back of my head going into junior year, I was like, I might be able to leave after this.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Like, was that after you had that good sophomore year, 6th man of the year? Was that when you kind of started like seeing the NBA as a real potential? Like, I could do this.
Yeah, I want to say so. I felt like because Nick had left too. I think he declared.
Yeah.
He declared, so he left. So I'm like, okay, I don't have to compete for the starting spot. The starting spot's mine now. And then as we're going through the year, I was noticing coaches are like really putting the ball in my hands a lot more, whether it was like post ups or just pick and roll, find me, whatever the situation was. But I noticed like I was like really incorporating to a lot of stuff. And I was like, okay, like this is like as long as I average like a double, like I probably got a really good chance. And I was just talking about this with Neem. Mm-hmm. The Big Ten that year was loaded. You got Luka Garza leading the way. You got Sticks, Jalen Smith at Maryland. You had Daniel Oturu at Minnesota. had
Ethan Happ still at Wisconsin that year?
he left the freshman year. I think Trace Jackson Davis at Indiana.
Yep.
Kofi Coburn from Illinois.
Yeah, that was
Lamar Stevens at Penn State. It was loaded.
Yeah.
Caleb
Banks.
Wesson at Ohio State. It was loaded.
Purdue have two.
Dude had Travion Williams.
Trayvon Williams.
Yeah. Edie would have been
Edie was young.
a freshman. I don't think he.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if he played much that year. Then.
Was Edwards?
They had Harms.
Harms. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my red year. We split the Big Ten 3 ways.
Yeah, with Maryland and Wisconsin.
Here's a good question. You think if that season doesn't get cut short because of COVID, where do you think we end up, that Michigan State team?
We were at least going to go to the Final Four. I wasn't worried about the Big Ten tournament at all.
That was
Obviously, we tied with those guys, but I wasn't worried about it because when we played Maryland, we went 1-1. They beat us at our place. We beat them at theirs. But at our place, I think we were just gassed. And then Wisconsin, we beat them. We killed them at our place. And we went over there.
I can't even remember who they had, really, honestly.
They had that Davison guy. He's
Brad Davis.
He was nice.
Dimitri Trice, probably.
Yeah. They had Trice.
That was Mike. They had Micah Potter and.
Yeah. Oh, damn. And Micah Potter. Now Micah Potter's in the league.
Right. Yeah.
I
can't remember who else.
That was a weird year because we kind of struggled a little bit, and then all of a sudden we ended up sharing the Big Ten, and we won our last 4 or 5 games. Or something. So, I remember that we were getting ready to play. I forget who we were going to play in the Big Ten. Probably didn't even know yet.
Yeah,
we're getting ready. We're practicing, and we started hearing some whispers about it's canceled. But of course, Coach Izzo just let us finish practice.
And then after, literally, DT could have stopped the practice and said, "Yo, no need to practice anymore, guys. We gotta."
Tournament.
He's like, let him practice. So we finished a hard practice. They always got the Chick-fil-A post or tropical smoothie. So we're crushing it. Everybody's showering. All right, man, let's hop on this bus. And it's oh, no, you guys aren't actually going. We're like, what? Dude, Fred Hoiberg's down bad. I'm like, what happened to Fred?
Yeah, that's right. They got. Yeah,
COVID, but I think he had an underlying issue. So
he did. So it was actually
it was in the middle of the first game of the Big Ten tournament, and they had cameras showing him sweating really bad and stuff.
I remember that now. Yeah,
I don't know if it was but it looked worse than it probably actually was. But that was such a weird time.
Can I ask, what did y'all think when COVID broke out? It was within the first month when everybody actually went home and stuff like that. What was going through your mind?
Well, we were told when we were sent home it was going to be 3 weeks and then we'd come back to school.
Okay.
That's what we were told. So that's what I was just assuming, and then ended up being 3 months until we went back, or 4 months.
I was in a class actually at Michigan State when they said it was all online, and that was probably a day or two before the tournament got canceled. So I just figured I'd go home for a little bit and then come back and finish up online, and we'd all be working out together, the guys that are coming back next year. And I think a week later, hey, Breslin's closed.
Yeah. Me and T and Yanni were literally at the Breslin until I don't want to say May, but maybe April, mid-April. So it broke out in February because Bubby was born on February 17th. So maybe later February when it was when they started canceling everything, we were just there, just I guess we should probably go home. But we were there for a month and a half first, just literally doing nothing.
That's right. I forgot he was born that year as well.
I thought it was going to be a zombie apocalypse. I'm not going to lie. I ain't going to lie. I didn't know what to expect. We never seen that. Never seen the world just kind of shut down. So I'm maybe this is serious. Maybe they're not telling us something this.
Dad, what were you thinking when that happened?
Well, I was at a meeting when you guys, I was at an AED meeting, and I think Chris Heller from DC Everest said, "Hey, something's going on here. They just canceled the Big Ten tournament." And it was just a matter of hours and things just started going down. And then you guys started calling her "Hey, we're coming home." I'm kind of like X. I'm what's going on here? We had no information really like that at school. You guys are a little bit ahead of us on that. Then Mom had to shut down state girls basketball tournament in the middle of the second session. So then I was well, there's something's going on here. But like Sam, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a couple weeks and we'll be good.
That's what I thought too. I think that's what everybody thought.
It was not a couple weeks.
It was not. And especially because when I declared to, or at least put my name in to like test the waters, like I didn't come back to Michigan State after that. Like that was it.
Yeah.
I was just literally in Grand Rapids.
Well, I guess kind of jumping forward now, kind of more towards your.
Well, I got one question for X before we get to his professional career. X, you had one of the greatest putbacks ever in a game.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope you remember where it came off the backboard from Cassius Winston. Yeah, you guys were up big, and then I think Illinois stormed back, didn't they? Then he threw. Well, I feel like he threw it up there, and he's just hoping you're going to get it. But maybe it was actually a shot. But
yeah,
you brought it home right there.
We literally, like the games before that, we played at Indiana and maybe at Penn State. And we were very bad in like the clutch situations because everybody knew Cash was going to shoot it. So they were like, yo, just go, like, not even double team. Just send everybody towards Cash. Cash was like, all right, well, like, I'm not trying to shoot a pull-up three here. Like, can I get in there? And, So we ran the play and he backdoored. And so in Indiana, before Illinois, when we were at Indiana, we had damn near the same thing happen almost. And I literally, like, missed the putback. I was right in front of the rim.
I was going to
say, shot it.
I remember that.
I shot it and it hit back and bounced out. And I was like, oh!
Yeah.
And coach was looking at me like, for real? And I was like, oh my God. So then I told myself, I'm like, yo, if I ever get this opportunity again, I'm going to dunk it. So as we're in it, I'm like, oh, if I get this opportunity, if it falls off the rim, I'm going to dunk it. So
I remember it almost looked like he threw it up knowing if I miss this, like I think X is right over there to scoop this one up.
Yeah, it wasn't anywhere close. He didn't even like give it.
Yeah. You got a best Izzo story before we kind of move on to maybe like more your professional career?
Best Izzo story?
I mean, I'm sure he's cussed you out many times like everybody else.
Bro, like, well, okay, so my freshman year is how I realized how not to get cussed out. So, having Miles, having Jaron, having Cassius, Josh Langford, Nick Ward, like those guys were not necessarily knuckleheads, but like if they didn't do something that is wanted, this would obviously let him know like he normally does, but they would always, 10 out of 10, you can bet your money on it, that they're going to chirp back.
Yeah.
And every time they chirp back, he'd say, DJ! and DJ would tap him on the he wouldn't tap him on the shoulder. DJ come up to him and be like, you're out, man. And I was like, okay, bad. So if you yell back, he's gonna get DJ take you out. Now, I had a situation my junior year. We were playing maybe it was sophomore year in the Big Ten tournament. And I don't remember who we were playing against, maybe Michigan or somebody. I don't know if I had a turnover, missed layup, whatever happened. He calls timeout, and as we're like, so say the bench is right here, we're right in front of our bench. I'm at the free throw line, getting ready just to walk straight ahead to the bench, and he meets me all the way out there, steps on my toes, but like I'm so locked in on winning, and like I haven't been going back and forth with him, but I'm like, yo, I know like you're just irritated right now, but we need to come up with a game plan because low key they're kicking our ass. Yeah. I like subtly picked him up and like walked him all the way back to the bench. When I sat him down, he was like in distraught, like just looking at me, and I was like, "Come on, like what you got? Like we need to figure it out." And he was just like, "You do it, you do it, you do it." Cash was just sitting there like, "All right, what do you got?" Literally, he was like so distraught because nobody had ever like put their hands on him in a sense. And I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to disrespect you, but like, I want to win this game. And my mom is sitting right over there. So like, I'm not going to let you do too much. So like, let's.
Yeah. He's been known sometimes not to make the best use of those huddles.
How many times do you feel like in your redshirt junior and senior year, were you like, man, like this could have been way more productive?
Oh, there was so much. I remember one time he breaks a clipboard all the time. That's nothing.
Yeah.
So he breaks a clipboard, and we always got like a bunch. I think Garrett would always like hand him another one. Uh-huh. So he breaks one. He hands him another one and just breaks it again. I want to say he broke a third one too. And we're like, hey, we're running out of clipboards here.
Yeah.
and then but the rest of the huddle, like the rest of the timeout, it was just like a stare at us while he was breaking them, just staring at us, and that's it. We didn't say anything.
Yeah. You just had a tough loss against USC.
Yeah, I know, but they're fine. I think they're in a great spot.
Yeah, they've been killing. Trey Holloman's been shooting the 3-ball so well.
Yeah,
They've had a lot of dudes
Yeah.
playing well, man.
Yeah,
Cohen
really
Carr,
good team.
I mean,
Top 10 player that day, the other day. Cohen Carr's dunk.
was it?
I mean, when is he not? This guy, his
The alley-oop.
athleticism is
The alley-oop.
crazy.
I think they were playing the Gophers though in that one. I think because he went over the top on a
Over,
deep lob.
You know, it's crazy. That guy he dunked on. I'm trying to think of his name. He was in UMD's conference.
Parker Fox.
Parker Fox is he's in like his 8th year of college basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
He didn't play a lot at UMD.
he wasn't at UMD. He played at Northern State. That's where he was at.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a different kid that left UMD. Wrong name. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But moving on, we like you kind of mentioned before. So COVID hits. You're going through the draft process. Did you have any idea of who was maybe going to pick you, where you were going to fall? I mean, that was such a weird draft just because it was COVID. Like,
You couldn't travel anywhere to do workouts,
you
right?
travel to do workouts. Everything was online.
Only
right?
team that came to me was Memphis.
Oh, so okay.
Memphis is the only team, and they had the 40th pick, and they were like, if you're still here by 40, like we're guaranteed that we'll get you. But I talked to damn near like everybody, and I thought I had some real interest in Boston because Boston had like hella picks. They had like 30, 26, 18, something else. So yeah, I think because they picked Peyton with the 26th pick, and with the 30th pick they picked Desmond Bain, but they traded it with Memphis.
So you had a feeling you were going to Memphis?
No, I mean I was watching it, thinking like, okay, after 20, like I'm like sitting up straight, like, all right, here we go, like, let's see what we got. And then the first round goes by, and I'm like standing by my fridge or by my mom's fridge at her house, like, oh God. And everybody's like, oh, it's all right. And I'm like, this is so stressful trying to figure out like where you're gonna live at and where you're gonna live at, where you're gonna be at, and stuff like that, and who you're gonna play for, and all these different rosters and all that good stuff like that. So we're going, and I felt like the second round went by like that. Like it felt like usually there's like 5-10 minutes in between each pick in the first round. Yeah, that one felt like they're like Terrell Terry. Go back, not Terrell Terry. What's his name? That's his name.
Yeah,
Terrell Terry. I think is the first pick.
Yep.
And then Nick Richards was in there. Daniel Arturo might have been.
Carson Edwards drafted that year too?
Right. He was. No, I mean we're all in the same kind of like bundle.
Yeah. Cassius was in there. Like
Cassius was in there.
Something like that.
He's like 50, 56 or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I remember like that second round was just boom, 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 boom. And all of a sudden, agent calls me before they do the TV. And so he calls me, he's like, yo, congratulations, you see it? I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, oh, and just hangs up on me. And I'm like, oh, great. So they said, and with the, because I had like a camera literally just like this, because of COVID. And with the 35th pick, the Sacramento Kings, like Xavier Tillman. I'm like, oh, me, my mom, everybody, my brother, T, we're all shouting and screaming and stuff like that. Bubby's literally knocked out over there, and I think Yanni is too. Yanni might have been awake. Bubby was just knocked out on the corner. We're all screaming and shouting, so hyped. Got the Kings hat on. I call Zach. Yeah. I call my agent. My agent's like, "Yo, take the hat off." I said, "Damn, I just got drafted." He said, "No, you got traded." I'm like, "Damn." No, you got traded to Memphis. And I was like, and ironically enough, so that might have been in November. We went to go see Jaren in Memphis in like September-ish, just to see him and hang out with him. It was the first time we had ever went down there, so we brought all the kids down and we kicked it for like a week, and he was showing us around, everything like that. And so, like, for them to show that much interest and like take me, it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
how cool is it to just go into a situation where you already knew someone?
Bro, it was great, and it was like you not just know somebody, but like he kind of had a little bit of weight over there too.
Sure.
So you know what I'm saying? Like I know this guy. I'm with him. Like that's what it felt like walking in. I'm with this guy. Like this is your, I think he was the 4th pick or something like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I just recently saw something about him. I forget, he was on a podcast talking about how he was signing up for classes his sophomore year. You would know more about this than I would. Like,
he's capping, bro. He didn't do that.
come on.
Because our freshman year, after we were done, because me and him had like 1 or 2 of the same classes, and we had a class around like noon, and so we would leave the Smith and then just walk to class together. And as I'm leaving the Smith, this is how I knew it was over. As I'm leaving the Smith, he says, "Yo, X, I'm about to go work out. Do you want to go?" I'm like, "Work out, bro? Like we got class. Like after the workout, sure. School or sure." He's like, "Nah, bro. Like I'm not going. Like I'm going to do this workout." So then I'm like, "Oh, all right." So then that was. But like he's like, "Well, yeah, I got the classes." I'm like,
Yeah, come on.
bro, you like literally like you went left to the Braz and I went right to the comm center, comm arts hall.
Like, dude, you're going top 5. No chance you're going to classes. Since you've gotten in the league, what has kind of been like your niche? Like, so what's the one thing you try to focus on in your game, maybe like on and off court, or maybe not, since you got in the league, but coming right into the league? Like, what was the one thing you were gonna really do to make an impact?
Defense. I feel like defense was like everything because my junior year or my last year at Michigan State was defensive player of the year. So like that was something I could kind of rest my hat on, was like, all right, like I'm a pretty good defender and I'm really good at like watching film and bringing what I watch to film like into the game as far as like tendencies and what guys like to do and don't like to do. So I'm like, I can definitely do that. So that's kind of like what I like locked in on right away. And I mean, it helped. They watch a crap ton of film.
Yeah.
In Memphis, at least, we did a lot. We watched a lot of film, and we always like had to talk about the players that we would guard and like do all this stuff. So you talk about public speaking. We were like, all right, I got so and so. He goes left.
We did that my first 2 years in the NBA.
It's a little awkward in that film.
It's very awkward. But I mean, I think like in the grand scheme of things,
it's good for you though.
It's good for you.
Say
Public speaking, like like you might be nervous, but it's good. Like. And then after 82 games, they get used to it.
Yeah, for sure.
What was the biggest change from like MSU film compared to NBA film?
Oh.
I feel like in MSU, we went over like every...
Like
we would split up guards and bigs, and the bigs, we go over like every big.
Yeah.
But like in the NBA, you're like really only going over like top 9, maybe 10 guys if you know that 10th guy is really playing.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just going over the top 9 guys, and that'd be it for film.
Yeah, more so just the tendencies, not every 15 of their inbounds plays that they might run.
Oh, man. We probably go through, like 3 plays?
Yeah, we walked through their main 2 or 3 actions. That's probably it.
It's a copycat league.
There can't be many guys in the Big Ten who've won 6th Man of the Year and Defense Player of the Year.
That's it.
Side note there. That's probably a pretty short. I would think that's a short list.
Potentially.
We could probably Google that and add it to this afterwards, but I can't imagine that's a very.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I
don't even know. Yeah, that's. I feel like you're in a elite company.
Okay,
Hey, good for you.
I'm mad at you. I don't even.
You were Michigan State's leading shot blocker for a year, right?
When did Marcus break his junior year or his sophomore year?
Yeah,
I think he broke it. I think he broke it one of those years, junior year, sophomore.
You got to be up there in rebounds for sure.
Yeah, but listen, I'm 6'7", 6'8" on a good day. Marcus is 7 foot, so I'm proud of that.
Huge.
Like if I'm 6'7", leading the whole university and all the history that it has in block shots, I'll take it.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about difference in G League, NBA, and all that stuff, just because Sam spent some time in G League. I'm in the G League. How beneficial was that time for you in the G League?
It was amazing, and it's interesting because you would think like, bro, why would you say that about the G? You don't get to stay at the Four Seasons or fly these charter Delta flights or all that.
The food is a lot.
Yeah, the food is a lot different. Like, why would you say it?
It's non-existent.
Yeah.
At the time, though, my position on my team was like 3rd string, 4th string. So, like, bro, I was never like the year prior in my year 2, I was never seeing the court. until the playoffs. For some reason, they were just like, "Yo, X." They said, "X, we need you." And I was like, "What? Like, I didn't play all year. What do you mean you need me? Like, I'm not ready." And I did. I played. I played well.
Yep.
We beat Minnesota in the first round and lost to Golden State in the second round. But like that summer, I was kind of like, "Bro, that was some bull." I was like, "You didn't miss me all year," and then you, like in my head, I'm like, "Bro, there's no way I'm playing. Let me get ready to get my cheerleader on," and you know what I'm saying? "You got it. Here we go, everybody," and da da da. And they were just like, "Yo, X, like, I think Steven Adams is going to struggle with Karl Anthony Towns. Like, be ready. Like, you're known to guard him well." And I'm like, "Yeah, but like in my head, I'm like, well, but like I played 40 games, and even those 40 games, I'm playing 10 minutes, if that, in the game. Like, come on now." Yeah, back to the G League though. So going into year 3, I knew I was going to be in the same situation as I was in year 2. So I like requested. I told the head coach, because he brought me back right after preseason was over. We were on our flight back from wherever, maybe Charlotte, and he was like, "Yo, I want to tell you about where you're going to be on the depth chart." And I'm like, "Before you say that, well, actually, tell me where I am." So then he told me, and I was in the same exact spot I was. I was like, just in case I showed you something else. So he told me where I was. I'm like, "Good thing you told me that." And he was like, "Huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to play on the G League as much as possible while we're home." And he was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, bro. Like, I don't want to just like sit here. And no offense, I don't want to rot here on the bench. Like, I want to play. Like, I just want to play. I want to continue to get better and all that stuff like that. And mainly, like, I want to stay in shape until you guys need me, or if you guys need me, you know, like the year before." And so I go down there. I might have played like 7 to 9 games in the G, averaged like 19-8, 19-9, and stuff like that. But it was just good to play 30 plus minutes. Bull off the leash where you could just kind of go. You know, there's not a lot of like rules and regulations for guys who get sent down. So it's kind of like, yeah, you just can kind of hoop and do that. It was hard to win a game though. Those guys play harder than ever. Like, it was hard. It was hard to win.
G League is arguably the fastest league in the world.
Absolutely.
And everybody's playing just with their heads cut off because everybody's, you know, trying to get that call up and that
playing hard.
Is it crazy to believe though that like it's not like even like the best players in the G statistically, like I don't feel like the NBA gives them nearly as much respect because they're like, "Oh well, you're not gonna do that when you come up here."
Literally, yeah.
But it's like at the same time, you see what he can do though. So like you might as well let him do some of that because
it's fun. It's weird because like usually they're looking to the G League to find a guy to fit a role, and if you don't do one thing like one specific thing really well, I feel like it's hard. Or that's what they're looking for. Like, can you play on ball defense really well? Can you shoot the three really well? Can you block shots? Can you protect the rim really well? That type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just weird. Like I'm on a scout. I don't know, but that's what it seems like guys are looking for.
But it's like at the same time, like you got to find a way to stand out. Like you can't just be.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you were in the G League, Sam, I don't remember how much you averaged, but you were scoring, 19, 20 a game. Like obviously that wasn't, necessarily what you were going to be doing in the NBA every single night. But to do that, you had to do that to stand out, So it's just it's kind of like
it's a weird balance kind of.
Yeah, it is a weird balance.
What do you feel like your mentality was like when you were playing? Were you like actually there to just like have fun and compete, or did you feel the pressure of like I need to stand out in order to?
I got lucky. We had a really like good team with like NBA vets who kind of were either on the back end of their career or trying to find their way back into the NBA, and so we had a good team. It was easy to like just kind of play and not worry about that type of thing. And basically, all they said was like, just try to become the best shooter you can because that's basically what you would do in Boston if you were there. So I would shoot like 11 or 12 threes a game probably. And out of like my 16 shots a game, it would be 12 threes and happened to make a lot of them. And it caught the eye just enough to, get called up. So, but yeah, I mean, but that being said, like that was a specific skill that, I was good at and I could fill a role in Boston eventually down the road.
What was the furthest you guys made it in your time at Memphis? Was it the conference semifinals?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was it my year 2 because year 3 we lost first round to Lakers.
That's what I thought. We were talking about that because did you play a lot that series as well?
Yeah, so
Yeah, that's what I thought.
year 3, playing in the G League, doing my thing.
Yeah.
Brandon Clark tears his Achilles, and
a bunch of dudes went down.
Steven Adams tears his PCL in his knee within literally a 2-week span.
Yeah.
So it went from playing in the G regularly when we got home to oh no, you're here and you're starting. Yeah, you're starting now, and it was oh damn. So
what was that like? 7-game series with playing against LeBron.
Yeah.
Game planning for that.
Man,
trying to counter, because there's a lot of guys who've talked about being in series with him where he, by game 2, he knows everything that's about to happen.
The craziest part was game 1 he was chilling. Game 1 he didn't really do much. It was Austin Reeves and Rui. You know how every time we do a scout and it's or how we used to do it at least. This guy's a cold guy. You can shift off of him.
Yep.
We did that to Rui Hachimura, and he killed us. He had 6 threes in the game. We were bro. And it was and coach is kind of damn, well, I didn't expect that to happen. And so we lost game 1. Then game 2, because game 1 only had 2 points and 2 or 3 rebounds. I was kind of starstruck, just kind of
yeah,
this is crazy that I'm starting the playoffs. Da da da. I'm going to the game listening to Gilbert Arenas' podcast. And because sometimes I already be too hyped, so I don't have to listen to music. So I was listening to the podcast, and he was a big Lakers guy. So he's oh yeah, easy sweep. If we beat them game 1 at their place, it's over. And I'm man, at least let me see if I can go. It kind of burst the bubble for me, because I was at least let me see if, I can make some things shake. So game 2, I had a way better game. I had 22 and 13.
I remember that.
And I hit a 3.
Yeah.
And I hit a 3. I was on one night.
That's funny. Yeah. No, that's it's crazy. Because even kind of last year throughout the regular season, you were kind of in and out of the rotation based on matchups.
Mm-hmm.
And then even in the playoffs, it was certain matchups you didn't play sometimes, but then sometimes you did. And then you get thrown into the finals and you played a pretty decent role in that series too. And then you hit this big 3 in front of the
big 3
in game 3. And that sealed the win for us that game. So for you, it's a lot of stay ready so you don't have to get ready type of mindset, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier said than done, because sometimes I used to think this is temporary. I feel at Michigan State, my freshman and early sophomore year was kind of like that.
Sure.
So in my head, I made up this random story that all right, cool. I'm just going to play that role for now. And then I'm going to blow up just like my junior year. And when I took that mentality, it made it a lot harder, because once I didn't get those minutes, I didn't get them before, instead of preparing, I was sulking. I was man, this is bull. Why me? But I've definitely gotten better at it, and I got the recipe in order to do it. As far as Peloton biking, lifting every other day. The last piece is scrimmaging, we talked about.
Yeah.
If you don't get a chance to at least play 5-on-5 once a week, at the bare minimum once, but at the most maybe 3.
It's honestly, it's so underrated. I mean, I've been in that position you now. My first 2 years here in the G League, more so this year, but just try to stay ready. How much live play just benefits you. You can do all this working out, shooting, conditioning, but you got to see some live action to really keep that I don't know what you want to call it, keep that
well, you keep your shape, you keep your competitive edge sharp.
Yeah, but just that
details,
feel. Yeah.
The feel of 5-on-5 is different than the feel of just playing 3-on-3.
Yeah, you can't really emulate it any other way other than just play.
Yeah, for sure. So that's those are the recipes for how to stay ready though. 5-on-5s, extra lifts, extra cardio on the off days, or even early morning game days.
Yeah,
I got to the point my 3rd year, because I said when I wasn't playing, I was riding the Peloton 12 miles every other day, just crushing it. I remember that was the lightest I had ever gotten to in my career. I was 248. I was I was in it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
doing everything I possibly could to stay ready. Cause like, I was like, yeah, they're probably going to play me. And then what's it called? Probably going to play me. And then I ended up getting that opportunity.
Yeah. No, it takes a special person to have that type of mindset, because there's a lot of guys that just go into a shell and, like you said, sulk and then don't handle it the right way. And then when they do get an opportunity, they flop.
Yeah.
And,
the hard part about that, like, I feel like it's so human to get into that sulking mentality, because, you know, things just aren't going your way. And
it's part of human
It's
nature.
comfortable.
Yeah. And if you have like expectations and wants and desires, like, it should piss you off. Yeah. But it's like, how do you handle it when it pisses you off? That's something like, as you grow up, like, you have to learn how to, like, okay, how am I going to respond to like this situation I'm in?
100%.
Well, nonetheless, I mean, you're an NBA champion now. I mean, you walk down those halls in the Brevlin's offices, you see Shannon Brown, you see Draymond, you see Magic, and I'm back there this summer or fall, whatever, and now you see Xavier Tillman up there holding the Larry O'Brien trophy. I mean, you know, we've heard, you know, firsthand here, our brother telling us about what that feeling was like. But what was it like for you, just, you know, reaching the mountaintop, something that probably never even dreamed about?
Yeah, I mean, you only reach that when you play 2K. I'm a big Mike guy, so like when you win the championship, you're screaming and shouting and stuff like that. But I feel like when we won, my experience was so bittersweet, because that was June like 17th, and my dad lady had passed away. Like, not even a month.
Totally forgot about that.
Yeah, passed away not even like a month before we won, and it was like, I don't know, it was crazy in the fact that like that was like the one thing, at least on my list, that like I'm like, okay, he's gotta like experience this. Like, he's seen all my kids born. He was there when I was married, like college graduations and all that. Or I didn't really graduate because of COVID. I mean, I graduated, but not the graduation. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he was part of all these big moments. And then like, this is like, damn, this is a really big moment. And like, he was like not there. And I'm like, yo, that's like, wow. But it was sweet, obviously, because it was like, man, this is something that like, you only dream about. Like, you never really think you're able to actually like accomplish it, because of how much has to go into it, whether it's the work, whether it's the health, the luck of if somebody else getting hurt, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah. And, you know, nobody really remembers how many guys played, how many minutes, who scored this. They just remember you're an NBA champion, you know?
They remember that big shot in the corner.
Yeah, they remember that
big shot in the corner.
Got that stamp forever, man. That was awesome being at all those games and the parade and everything. But seeing my brother,
that parade was sweet. That parade was sweet. What was your perspective on the parade? Like that, I hadn't experienced nothing like that.
We had a rowdy duck boat. Rowdy.
It was a hazard. I mean, there was cans and
stuff was just getting thrown.
Yeah, like I think my sister got like cut by a can or something, or like a beer can that got thrown. Like,
they were throwing like full beer cans into ours. Like, it was nuts.
Footballs, basketballs being thrown. Like, I got drilled in the head by one of those like nicotine things, whatever, just right in the eyebrow.
Damn.
Yeah, it was insane, but it was awesome. Like, you just were inviting it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but I got to ask you. We heard you're into some real estate, maybe.
Yeah. I just bought my first property. December.
We're at back in
Grand Rapids. Yeah, we're fixing it up right now.
Yeah, I told him about the classes you were taking on the plane flights, learning the tricks of the trade before you get to.
Who got you into that?
My dad was like a real estate, like not like a mogul, but he was like a real estate guy growing up. Like, he had like different businesses and all that stuff like that. But like, I kind of, once I got to the league, it was like that number one statistic of like majority of NBA players or just pro sports players like will lose majority of their money because they don't know how to act when they get it. And I'm like, okay, well, how do you not do that? Like, that was like my big.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, I don't really care if I live like a super comfortable life while I play, but I damn sure need to have something when it's over. And I've learned that, like, you know, like, I call it mailbox money, but like having businesses, having like real estate, like, could really, really like help you set yourself up for a retirement and stuff like that. Like, obviously you can like invest in the stock market and do stuff like that. You can even do both, but that's something that I'm really like trying to do for sure, especially before, you know, if I'm playing for like 10 more years, like hopefully I can get enough properties to, be able to, like, when I'm done, like, not have to drastically change my lifestyle, but like just be able to be comfortable until I'm out of here.
Well, I don't know much about it, but I'm pretty sure real estate's a great place to start
It is.
and invest your money in.
Yeah, it is actually. It's pretty dope, especially with all the appreciation and
Inflation, baby.
inflation.
Yeah.
Even with us being in this situation where we don't actually need that income that it generates, like it's low key sick for me because I'm like, yo, I just roll that onto the debt. So like for the next 10 years, like all those payments that like should be for me and I'm stacking them up, I'm just gonna pay it off. So like by the time I'm done,
Saving all that other money.
yeah, hopefully by the time I'm done, I got a whole bunch of properties just generating me a crap ton of money.
So what you want?
Should we move into some top 3 categories?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Top 3 categories. We're sticking to kind of the film entertainment industry for this one. We got top 3 TV shows, and then we're going to do top 3 movies. We've done comedy movies, but
We haven't done movies.
we haven't done just movies in general. So we'll start off with TV shows. Start us off.
You give us your 3.
Give
No
them all 3.
specific order.
I'm gonna go with okay. So my personal favorites. I'm gonna go My Wife and Kids. Have you guys heard that? Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it. I know what it is. I haven't seen it,
I
though.
don't know if I've watched it.
Marlon Wayne's. It's literally hilarious.
I know who that is. Yeah.
Yeah. So Bam, or not Marlon Wayne's. Maybe Damon. But anyway, and one of the Wayans brothers. There's a lot of them. One of the Wayans brothers. So that show, Bernie Mac show.
Bernie Mac, good show. Good show.
Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Good one. That's a good one.
All right.
We always leave room for honorable mentions.
Yeah, any honorable mentions.
Yeah, you're allowed to add after the fact too if you need to.
Though, like Sweet Life, like I mean, look at us living
That's
this life now.
nostalgia.
That's nostalgia for real.
Yeah,
So,
Guys, you guys are in big hotels every road trip, just like Sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the hotel in that show is based out of Boston, actually.
Really?
when you think about like how expensive that had to be to live in a hotel, like
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. I feel like they weren't well off.
and then they're like messing with the manager of the hotel every day. How are you not kicked out of here?
Yeah, they should have been.
Sam, why don't you go?
All right, my 3 are The Office, Ted Lasso, which is kind of new of the last couple of years, and Yellowstone, which just finished up its 5th and final season. So 3 good shows. Emmy have binged all of those a couple times.
Ted Lasso is a soccer.
Yeah, it's with Jason Sudeikis. He's great.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
I got Drake and Josh. Had
like
to.
that.
I mean, we always watch that one as soon as we got home from school.
Yeah.
Seinfeld. I don't even really know like any episodes. You just feel like I can just throw it on anytime. And then my last one, Triple D, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Guy Fieri.
Where is that?
It's on the Food Network.
Food Network.
Guy Fieri?
Dude, you never
The
seen
Food
it?
Network.
Yes. Good.
Good show, though.
All
He
right.
goes
He
around and,
finds
like, tries
the best.
food.
When you watch it, you just get hungry, unfortunately, every time. But it is the best show. It's hard not to watch.
All right.
All right, Dad, what do you got? I'm interested.
I got some Seinfeld, but this is generational TV watching. I don't watch TV like I used to, like that stuff. Yeah, so Seinfeld. There's an old TV show I used to watch at Grandpa Hauser called MASH. Way
Heard
old.
of that.
Go to MASH?
Yeah, I've heard of it. You never heard of it?
Yeah,
I mean, I've heard of it. I just haven't seen it.
yeah. And then there's a really old one. If you guys remember, I bought the CDs from the seasons. There's only 3 seasons.
I know what you're gonna say.
The white.
Basketball.
That's a basketball movie from I think the high school is based in California somewhere. Yeah, Coach
Super.
Ken Reeves.
Coolidge. Is that the one guy's name?
Coolidge is in there. Yeah, he was the guy. That was pretty staple from right there. I mean, my honorable mention is 2.5 Men.
With Charlie Sheen or with Kuchar?
What's that?
With Charlie Sheen or with
Charlie Sheen,
Yeah.
by all means. Yeah, by
He is
all
funnier.
means.
Those are some good lists right there. All right, next one we got is movies. Next, you're starting us off again.
Just seen it. Rush Hour 1.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Man, those
it's a
shows are
great-
good.
You like that one better than 2?
Arguably a top a top like 3, like a series of all time.
Yeah, for sure. It's in there with the series. Shrek 1.
Yeah, the best Shrek of all time. Yeah, I like that one the best.
What did I say? I said Shrek 1. What was the first one?
Rush
I just
Hour.
forgot.
Rush Hour.
Rush Hour, and then
Tough one.
It's coming. It's
Tough
a
to
big
narrow
one.
it down to 3.
I know
It's a
because
big- it's a big
Sandlot.
Oh, it's,
Hey,
Yeah.
hey,
I wanted to do movies that like I know majority of.
I feel
Yeah,
that.
I know majority of the.
That's a good
quotes. Yeah.
Those are good. That's a good 3 right there.
Yeah. The Great Bambi. I never watched that tonight. That'd be all right.
That's one of my favorite baseball players from like episode 2 with Benny the Jet Rodriguez.
All right, mine are Remember the Titans.
Okay.
We, as a team, we quote that one a lot.
That's like a hot topic right now.
Yeah, it's few of our top. Like Luke loves it, Derek loves it, I love it.
JT was just
JT likes it a lot.
Yeah.
I think it is a top 10 movie of all time for sure. Best sports movie, hands down.
Oh boy.
What?
Boy.
No,
Glory
no,
Road.
That's up there. That's up there. I mean, you just put The Sandlot in your top 3. You're gonna say Glory Road now?
I'm a happy, funny guy. Like those guys, those movies are like serious. Like, I'm not-
Yeah,
Remember the Titans, number 1. Number 2 is Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah,
Huge fan of that movie.
it's a good
Huge fan of that movie. And then my last one is Hitch.
Okay.
one. So
Yep.
good.
I love that movie.
When that
We
went
watched
to
that a
TV,
lot on car rides
Yeah.
for AAU back in the day. And then my one honorable mention was Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Good one.
Like
Frank
that.
Abagnale Jr.
Yep.
I watch that on Delta flights a lot. They always have it for some reason.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My number 1 is The Dark Knight. I did put in my honorable mention The Dark Knight Rises because I think it's very good as well. I got Shooter with Mark Wahlberg. That one's on TV a lot. And then my last one is The Negotiator. Samuel L. Jackson. Great movie.
Seen that one?
Nope.
You got to watch
It's
it.
a good one.
It is a
Add
really
that
good
one.
movie.
I love Samuel Jackson though. I think
Keeps
he's a
you
great
guessing
actor.
the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you got, Dad? Oh, I got one more I'll mention. Castaway. Because there's 45 minutes of no talking in the movie.
What?
Yes, with Tom Hanks.
It's a Tom Hanks movie. He gets like lost on this random island
Great movie.
and he makes his friend to like a volleyball. Calls it Wilson.
It's all about like him
Okay.
surviving on an island, but there's literally 45 minutes of running time in the movie where not a single word is said.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's just him
And
and,
it's
Wilson.
but it's
just
like
taking it?
entertaining.
yeah, him just trying to figure out ways to live on this island.
Jeez.
Good
Yeah.
movie. You should watch it. Dad, what do you got?
Well, I've taken a little different approach than just naming them. I'm like, any movie that involves John Candy is on my list. Even some of his bad ones, but specifically the number 1 is The Great Outdoors. It's really a story based on my dad and his brother. Yeah, no question about it. So John Candy, he's the guy up there. So I'm gonna go. Actually, you caught me off guard with the Sandlot. That one, I don't want to use yours.
That was on your list.
Well, it is. I mean, I just
Sometimes
You know,
you spark ideas when you hear.
yeah, because I'm a Top Gun lover, but so I'm a big Maverick, big Top Gun. I'm a geek, closet airplane guy. But then my third thing is any movie that depicts based off true stories. So Hoosiers, Glory Road, those are my number 3s.
All right.
Right.
All right. That's good. Any honorable mentions?
I do have an honorable mention. There's Office Space,
Oh,
Sahara, and any of the Hangovers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
yeah,
are
yeah.
good.
those are great.
Yeah. Well, X-Man, we appreciate having you on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
A lot of good stories.
a lot of
Yeah.
good stories. You like I said, unique that you've been my teammate and Sam's, not on the same team. So, but yeah, appreciate you hopping on with us, and we'll hopefully see you soon.